This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
I mean, you can see right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face. Oh, I'm from Brooklyn. Hey, you guys any...
Happy Taco Tuesday out there for all you football fans. Glad to see you there. Of course, we're going to be covering a lot of sports here today. I'm joined right now with our Lady of Sports, Sonja Pearson, and of course, James Martin, a new addition to the Northeast Streaming Sports Network. Knows his stuff. Great personality. Looks pretty good too. I mean, I'm not that I'm that way, but he does look pretty handsome.
This guy. Thank you.
Good to see you, James. And I don't know what you guys eat. I eat before I come on. And just a little shout out to the producer, Linda, who's a great cook. I had some home fries with brats, peppers, and onions all thrown together. So I'm full up and ready to rock tonight. So again, good evening, everybody. So yes, shout out to the producer. So everyone's when the NFL draft comes around lately, anyways, we're all looking at quarterbacks. Where are they going to end up? How good are they going to be? How are they going to help their teams out? And I'd say in the last maybe 6-7 years, there's been a lot of quarterback busts. Quarterbacks that were drafted in the first round, and they don't make it for one reason or other. There's a lot of reasons, and we're going to cover that as we go along here. I don't know what you guys think, but I think it's partly the jump from, of course, college to the NFL. James, all these quarterbacks with a lot of raw talent, and they can't make it in the NFL.
Well, I think there's a few reasons. I mean, we're talking maybe some quarterbacks, some organizations may reach for a quarterback just off of what they saw. Maybe there's limited amount of talent that may be first round talent, but an organization may say, hey, we saw this guy throw at the combine. We like some of his traits. We like maybe some of his tape. It wasn't all that great. Maybe the offense didn't showcase his talents as much. Maybe it was a run heavy offense. Some of those things may come into play. Like, say, for instance, the quarterback that's going to be drafted this year. We're talking about JJ in Michigan. Is his last name? JJ? Yes, absolutely. McCarthy. Yeah. He's a prime example. He didn't really get a chance to showcase his talent. So more than likely a quarterback needy team is going to draft him or going to reach for him. I think he's a second round talent at best, but he could be more. Yeah. But there ultimately some other factors could be a team drafts, let's say a first round team drafted the quarterback that they need. They put him into play. He doesn't get a chance to stand behind a bridge quarterback and learn. And then also you may have a situation where the guy plays and he doesn't have enough talent around him. The offensive line, the weapons, and maybe less than stellar coaching as well. So there are quite a few factors that may come into play as to why a guy doesn't have success. I mean, then you have a guy like maybe Mr. Trubisky. He didn't have a lot of he didn't have a lot of talent around him, and then coaching hires around him. I mean, you constantly get an offensive coordinator, you change in a new system, you just don't really get a chance to get acclimated into a system and learn and grow.
Those are all on my list. Sonja, do you got anything else you could add to that? I mean, you got a young quarterback on your team right now, on a bad team, a bad owner, again, what James saying is switching coaches, and this team probably won't be good for the next few years. It maybe for a long time. I don't know. But here's this young quarterback, injury history. Even though he played for a major college, he goes to Carolina, and right now he looks confused.
Yeah, I think James literally engulfed everything I was thinking. It almost literally sounded like he was talking about my team, the Panthers. It's extremely difficult to see our way out of this at this point in time because there's so many factors that go into what's occurring. It's not just an isolated incident. It's not just we have a new quarterback. It's not just we have a new coach. It's we have a terrible management system. We have new coaches. We have a new quarterback. He is physically smaller. The offensive line is absolutely horrible. There is an entire combination that just equates a disaster. And on top of that, they increased the ticket sales 4% this year to PSL owners. And I saw Mad Dog on ESPN, like literally saying, why are we paying for an increase? The team is horrible. We should be getting a discount. And as a PSL owner, I am irate that I'm forced to pay for these tickets when I actually own the seat because I don't want to go right now. I just rather watch it home and save my gas money because I have to travel out of state to see them. And just if I lose, I could just go on about my day rather than drive up. Then I got to drive all the way back 4 hours, mad. And so I think everything that James said is correct. And we got to really look at that with the draft coming up. JJ McCarthy, you all mentioned him. They're, equating him because he was under Harbaugh's era, but we don't know what he's really like outside of that organization, outside of Michigan, because NFL is way different.
Yes, it is. Let me give you some names, right? And you tell me if these are busts in your opinion. Okay, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold. You got the two. They went 0 for 2 with Tennessee, Willis and Levis. So, I mean, these are all quarterbacks that some people really thought were going to be franchise quarterbacks, and not drafting the right quarterback will set you back so many years, at 3-4 years. I mean, you're going to have to make a decision on these guys. I'm going to tell you what I think, and tell me if I'm right or not. Right now, I'm pretty good at this because I do watch college football and I do watch the pros a lot. So as a quarterback in college, you see more complex, faster defenses in the pros than you do in college. College is pretty vanilla. They don't have the same blitz packages. They don't run the same line stunts. They don't have the same coverages, multi-coverages, rolling coverages, going from man to safety, zone underneath, man on top. I mean, there's so many different things that they throw at you in the pros. As I think Sam Darnold said, I'm seeing ghosts out there. You're not seeing ghosts. What you're seeing is coverages that you've never seen before. And the defenses are that much better. And then if you throw out in there, I don't care how tough the conference is. I don't care how good your team is. Only 3% of the players that you're playing make it in the NFL, right? 97% of these players don't even get on the practice squad. So you're actually playing against every week an all-star football team that's been together for 3-4 years that know how to play the coverages they're playing. So these quarterbacks going in there are at such a disadvantage that they don't stand a chance. And it's not that they're not good athletes, and they're not that they weren't great quarterbacks. Tim Tebow, believe it or not, was a great quarterback. He won a national championship. He was a Heisman Trophy winner, and he goes to the pros, and he can't even get a job there. It's really tough, that transition from college to pro. People just don't realize how tough it is. So that's what makes what CJ Stroud did astonishing. Being a first year, the Texans didn't have a bad team, but they weren't good either. They relied on him. Of course, he ended up, losing once they got in his face and he got in the playoffs. They lost that game. And what makes, what the San Francisco quarterback, what he's done, Brock Purdy, almost unbelievable, right? Nobody saw him coming at all. So, to me, again, there are so many reasons to fail, and only a couple to really become a good quarterback. And a lot of that also has to do with quarterback development. Let's welcome CJ Simone, the painkiller on. We were just talking about why Zach Wilson didn't have a chance, CJ, as far as the Jets quarterback. A lot of it has to do with coaching. A lot of it has to do with an offensive line and average wide receivers, maybe one good one you got over there in Wilson, but the rest are average, if that. And then you expect this kid to be successful. And like a lot of quarterbacks that I just named, they're traded. He may not even be tradable.
Well, I honestly think that Zach Wilson could probably be a backup NFL quarterback somewhere in the league. Now, that being said, here's the problem with Zach Wilson, and pretty much the same problem with every Jets quarterback not named Chad Pennington or Mark Sanchez. Lack of quarterback coaching, number one. Number two, you're expecting this kid to come out of the draft and go ahead and lead a team in which offensive line is suspect, no skill position players, and the only good thing about this football team is the defense. The defense is the glue that keeps that team together. Without that defense, this is a last place team in any division you put this team in. Okay? Now, here's also Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is not an NFL quarterback. And the reason why he's not an NFL quarterback, let alone worthy of the number 2 overall pick in which he was selected, is because he comes from a school where there lacks competition. If he came from the SEC, if he came from the ACC, if he came from Mountain West, you could make the argument that there would be something in place where he could easily make the transition from the NCAA to the pros. You guys have heard me say this on this show over and over and over again. Just because you're drafted doesn't mean your skill set is going to be able to translate to the NFL.
That's right.
It is a grown man's game.
So I give you, I'll say I agree with you partially there. You can come from a great school. You can come from the SEC, the toughest division in the NCAA, like Mac Jones, and still be plus CJ.
Yeah.
So I think
take a look at Danny Werfel.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Great guy.
Danny Werfel, Tim Couch. Okay. Who else?
Tim
Tebow. As long as my arm.
Tim Tebow. I mean, there's a bunch of quarterbacks that were good.
DeMarcus Russell.
Yeah, DeMarcus Russell. Huge one.
Yeah.
Ryan Leaf. I mean, we could go on and on and on. And this is why I say the quarterback position draft, to me, is not the most important position to draft. To me, it's the offensive lineman. To me, it's a wide receiver or a quarterback. That's where I would, if I'm a GM, I'm looking to grab the best offensive lineman, cornerback / wide receiver there is in the draft. That's where I go first. And then I worry about my quarterback after, because he can't quarterback a team that doesn't have weapons and that they can't block for him. So, I mean, to me, that's why the Eagles are so good and some of the other teams are good, because they look at the line more than most teams do. And you know, go ahead, Sonja.
It's like when you're drafting your fantasy players, you kind of wait to draft your quarterback to the end after you build your line.
Yeah.
Same principle.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, this year teams won't have to worry about not drafting from a deep class of talented offensive linemen, because, man, we're talking about like maybe 6 or 7 going in the first round alone, possibly.
You would think?
Yeah.
You would think?
Joe Alt, 6'8" guy.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, Olu Fashanu, man, all those guys. J.C. Latham, man, super talented kids, man.
Yeah, they are, and they're athletic. They're big and they're athletic, something that they weren't so long ago. They were just big and kind of experienced and crafty. So
Yes.
so if that's so, then why are we so intrigued? Or why are the GMs, not us, because of course we're intrigued about it. Why are the GMs so intrigued about the quarterback position? Why is this the first thing they're looking at? I mean, McCarthy played on a great running team. So as you said, James, we're going to see what he can do in the pros, right? I mean, I mean, if you're going to put McCarthy up against, say, Penix Jr., I'm taking Penix Jr., right? That's who I'm taking first because he's definitely comes from a throwing offense. So, it's very interesting to me how they and James said a great word, reach for certain quarterbacks when they really don't know how good they're going to be. And talking about developing players, look at Jordan Love. He sat for a while. Look at Josh Allen. He was raw. He was a great runner. Wasn't a great passer. Gets him with a good offensive coordinator. All of a sudden, he's MVP caliber. Welcome, Keith Engel, show.
Welcome to the show, Keith.
Hey, Keith.
Keith is part of the Alpha Dogs, who's going up against the OGs on Saturday. So tune in Saturday. If you want to talk to a team that went up against us, you can talk to James and Sonja, the House Divided, and find out, what you're in for, Keith. So, off air, if you want to talk to them, find out. Go ahead.
Keith, we're rooting for you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
they like to cheat, Keith. They like to cheat.
It's wrestling. I mean, we all cheat
CJ
wrestling.
watched it. He could tell you. CJ saw it.
If the deck was stacked against you guys the way it's stacked against us, I can understand.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. I will do anything to win. That's part of it. We're here to win. That's what it's all about.
Paying the refs, paying the judges.
Keith, we're talking about why GMs are so crazy about the quarterback classes that have come out. Mac Jones, he's on his way out. Zach Wilson, Daniel Jones. I don't think he's related to Mac Jones, except that he can't play quarterback either. Justin Fields. I mean, all these quarterbacks that are busts. Your guy Levis, that are busts out there.
Whoa, time out. Leave Will Levis out of this. He's doing okay.
For what? I mean, and maybe as a practice squad quarterback, he's playing great. I heard.
We'll talk about him in about 3 years. We'll see where we are.
Okay, we will. 3 years from now, we'll be selling shoes. But anyway, Keith, let's. What do you think? What do you think is the biggest problem? Is it the defenses in the NFL that are so complicated compared to the defenses in the NCAA?
Yes, the defenses are more complicated. Game's faster. It takes time for these guys. Some guys takes time to acclimate. That not all of them. Some guys pick it up right away. We forget about those guys, but some guys do pick it up right away. I do think teams reach too much for quarterbacks. You talked about the draft from 3 years ago where Zach Wilson, the Jets draft him too early. The 49ers move up for Trey Lance too early. The Patriots take Mac Jones where they probably shouldn't have. All those, nobody worked out from that draft. Justin Fields was in the same draft. Which is why I would advocate the Patriots not take a quarterback at 3 and take Marvin Harrison, but they probably won't do that. But That's what they should do. Take a quarterback later.
Well, Byron Williams said it. Jim Jeffco said it. And if you look, and I said it before you came on, only 3% of the college players go on to play in the NFL, and that includes the practice squad. So they're not playing against NFL caliber players in college. They're playing against guys that are not nowhere close to these NFL players. And when they get there, they're playing against a team that's been together for 4 or 5 years, and they're all all-stars. They would be all-stars in college.
I can't disagree with anything you said there. And again, not everybody. You need somebody, and I think I talked about this with Sonja on the show last year or last week. You can a guy can start, but you still need somebody to mentor him. You need a veteran quarterback to be behind him, and he needs solid coaching. He needs a good quarterback coach that he can feed off of, and a good offensive coordinator, and everybody on the same page. And that isn't often the case. And we see it a lot today. You mentioned Jordan Love. Jordan Love benefited from Aaron Rodgers helping him the way Brett Favre did not help Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
I don't like to give Aaron Rodgers credit for anything. He did help Jordan Love the last 2 years.
Yes, he did.
But it did help Aaron Rodgers playing behind. Even though he didn't mentor him, he did watch what he did. He did. He was in the same film room as he was. So I mean, he did learn from. He did learn from him.
They're a great example of what I'm talking about. Mac Jones, the trajectory was good for Mac Jones after year one. Then he didn't have an offensive coordinator. He didn't have a quarterback coach. He didn't have a veteran quarterback on the roster behind him. And you see what's happened the last 2 years. He's digressed to the point where he's unplayable.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to predict my next bust is going to be Caleb Williams. I think he's a bust. I think he's going to go to a team, maybe the Bears, maybe the Commanders. They're rebuilding. They're not good teams right now. They just changed coaches. Over in Chicago, their owner, their front office, their coaches never get it together. They've ruined 3 quarterbacks. We're counting Justin Fields. And so Caleb Williams is going to go to a place that ruins quarterbacks, basically. Or he's going to
I wonder how tough he is. I've compared him to Robert Griffin III a lot, and I wonder about how durable he's going to be in the NFL at this level. So, and you just brought up something too that I forgot when we were talking about guys not being able to adapt quickly from college to pros. More often than not, these guys end up on bad teams, right? They don't end up on good teams. So
exactly. And I mean, look, Caleb Williams is a small frame guy. He played on a team that didn't sniff the playoffs. They were in not that good of a division. He's got small hands. There's a lot going against, and his attitude. This kid's got a lot going against him because he's coming in there thinking he's all that, and he's going to find out when he gets on that field he ain't all that. And it's going to be. I think he's going to cause problems for a team. I think he's one of those troublemakers that get. Yeah, I listen. I think from what I've been reading about this guy, he's going to be a problem. And I mean, if I'm a coach, I don't even touch him. I wouldn't even touch Caleb Williams.
It might be a dad problem too. I mean, his father seems to be overbearing in a way that can be a problem for teams for sure.
Yep. So, Mac, do you think he falls?
No, I think he's taking. I think he's taking the first three. First three picks. One of those teams are going to get him. Maybe the first 2, Keith.
First pick, I think. I think the Bears still take him. They're having trouble moving Justin Fields right now, but I think they take him anyway.
It's very possible.
That's because the reason why they're having trouble moving Justin Fields is because the asking price is easily going to be 2 firsts and a second.
Nobody's paying that. Nobody.
Right, exactly, and that's what the Bears are probably going to ask. Or you already know that there's going to be a first-round pick involved. So even if they get 2 firsts and a second, or a first and 2 seconds, or a first, second, and a third, or whatever, no one is giving up a first-round pick for Justin Fields.
Not today or 5 years from now. They're not doing it. Nope.
I mean, with the Jets and Zach Wilson, you're going to be lucky if you get a 6th-round pick for him, which is the equivalent of a bag of balls and a slightly used jockstrap.
I mean, so what do you do when you have a quarterback that's supposedly this high draft, comes in with all these high accolades, etc., and then he goes to a team that's subpar and he's not a shiner anymore? Like, what do you do? It's not the quarterback's fault that he went to a bad team.
I think in the situation, let me say, in regards to Caleb Williams, he needs to go to a team, one of those first 3 teams. I think they need to bring in a bridge quarterback and allow him to sit 1 year, 1 or 2 years, and then play.
The dude wants to make $700 million. He don't want to sit. He doesn't want to.
That's his father.
Making $700 million.
There's a rookie contract structure in place. He can't make any more than X.
They said they found a way around it. It'll be interesting. I think he's going to be cancer in the locker room. I think he wants all the attention, and the players are going to resent him. I really do. There's so many things pointing in the bad direction for him. I don't know. I mean,
if he wants to make more money than the rookie structure, maybe he ought to stay in college another year and get paid there.
Right.
There you go. There you go.
Now, NIL
Yes.
is change.
Right.
I agree.
But I don't think the Trojans want him back either, quite honestly. So I think they're happy he's gone.
Well, I think the Bears don't take him. I think they keep they keep Fields and use their first and ninth for some premium picks.
Interesting.
That would be the smart thing. I've been saying that all along, James. I mean, why not get some more weapons for him or some more protection for him,
or trade down?
Especially if they can't get a. Especially if they can't get a
return. The words right out of my mouth. If I were the Bears right now, I would hold up a for sale sign for that first overall pick, and I'd be like, okay,
yes,
the first overall pick is up for grabs. Who wants it, and what are you going to give me for it? And then if I'm the Bears, I take whatever I get. I get a king's ransom, and like you guys said, get them more skill position players, fortify the offensive line. Get some more help on the defense, and actually put a competitive product on the field.
I think that number one pick for the first time, like we always hear of teams getting the number one pick. The Bears have had the number one pick before. I think this year that number one pick is carrying way more weight than it has in the past because of all the stuff that goes along with it and all the other moving parts that came along with it. The Bears are really monopolizing the team right now with what they have in their possession. And we are just sitting here on pins and needles just waiting to see how they use that. And it's definitely like a thriller. Honestly, it's like, oh my God, are they going to trade him? Are they going to keep him? What are they going to do? It's like the Bears are just milking this media attention right now.
Of course.
Why not? So speaking of another quarterback, Russell Wilson has been let go. The team even let him call and contact teams before he went out the door. It's like get out quicker than you're getting out. So Russell Wilson, who had a decent year last year, it wasn't his best year by far, but it wasn't his worst. Played a little bit better. Where do you see him going? Is he? There's rumored he might go to my team, the Giants. They may draft a quarterback and let him, be the bridge quarterback. They're sort of like what they did with Eli Manning and Kurt Warner. Let them do that. I wouldn't fight that. I wouldn't fight that at all. So, what do you guys think? What do you think he ends up? What do you think, Sonja?
I kept thinking Atlanta. I really did, but I know that's going to be a lot of drama surrounding that. But just for all field purposes, but I really felt like Atlanta because it just made sense. If it wasn't Justin Fields, Russell Wilson would be the next person. I want to say it's interesting how he thanked everybody, including cafeteria personnel today. Did not even mention the quarterback coach, the offensive coordinator, or Sean Payton. It was an obvious disdain that was shown in his exit. I mean, that thing was like a Bible verse. It was so long on social media. And like it's obvious that there was bad blood between those two. The fact that they basically gave him permission to shop around before he leaves is almost like going to put clothes on layaway as a child and hope you can pay them off. Like you got this coming, but you don't have it right now. So yeah, I think he comes to Atlanta. I think he comes to the South, honestly.
All right, that's good as big as any. I would say that Russell Wilson would probably be the best bridge quarterback / second string quarterback in the league right now. Is that far-fetched, James?
Well, let me look at his skill set. I mean, it's slightly eroded, but not at all. I mean, he threw for 3,000 yards last season, 26 touchdowns to only 8 interceptions. Regardless of what the record showed, he actually showed to be a pretty great a good quarterback, serviceable quarterback.
Sure.
And I think in the style offense, you got to look at his history. Looking at Russ, he's always been in a run-first offense and Sandlot. I mean, this guy, you allow him to improvise and do a lot of different things. He wasn't able to do that there where he was. I mean, and also my man had a bit of problem with a little ego and diva problem. I think that got out of hand. I think they can come. He's humbled. He's humiliated now. So he can go to some place like the Steelers where they don't play that type of stuff, where they're besides having the issues with Antonio Brown. But it's the perfect style offense for him, a run-heavy offense and allow him to just play off his skills. And I think he's much better than what they have right now. And being under the coach that they have, he probably wouldn't get humiliated like Sean Payton did on the field. So I think his person would be an excellent option for him.
Great point. I don't think the Jets would mind CJ having Russell Wilson there in case.
No. The Jets have enough problems. We don't need Russell Wilson. Okay, we already are trying to solidify our backup quarterback situation. I have my eye. I personally want Jacoby Brissett. The reason being is because Jacoby Brissett has proven that he can be a game manager if you need him to be. That's number one. Number two, he is also a mobile quarterback in the pocket, which means he's not afraid to take off and run when he needs to. And number three, Joe Douglas needs to get somebody, because after last year's debacle, after Aaron Rodgers went down 4 plays into the regular season and he did not have a contingency plan, or should I say lack thereof a contingency plan, because their contingency plan spent 75% of the time on the practice squad. Don't get me started on this. Russell Wilson is another headache the Jets do not need.
Okay, all right. I would think that maybe he'd challenge Rodgers there for a little bit of airtime in there.
Keith, funny you say that. The Patriots are actually interested in Jacoby Brissett.
They are.
Well, he's originally from their system.
Yeah,
it would make sense for him to go back there. I hope the Jets beat him to the punch.
Yeah. And Russell Wilson's not going to go someplace where he's a backup anyway. I don't think he's going to go someplace where he can play. James is right. I mean, he's lost. He's used to playing in a more wide open system and not a structured offense like Sean Payton wants to run, or other teams. I don't know if the Falcons are a great fit because they want to throw the ball over the middle, and he doesn't want to throw the ball over the middle. He's outside the hash kind of quarterback. And the problem is he doesn't have the mobility that he has had in the past, and he's taken a lot of bad sacks, which that's what drove Sean Payton crazy. Patriots were rumored to be talking about Wilson, and I think that's a lot of smoke too. They are interested potentially in Jacoby Brissett because there is still in Foxborough a school of thought that we take Marvin Harrison, pick a quarterback later, and get a bridge quarterback like Jacoby Brissett or somebody else, knowing you may not win this year. But to me, Harrison is, again, I'll say till the Suns come home, he's the best player in the draft, and you can build around worse players than Marvin Harrison. And taking a shot at these quarterbacks we're seeing doesn't work when you can get one later.
I agree.
Personally, I'll tell you, like this would be my pipe dream. If this would ever come true for the New York Jets, I probably would be maybe the only Jet fan that would be so happy for this. And that is for the Patriots to release Mac Jones, somehow find a way to just cut him or whatever, and for the Jets to pick him up, for him to sit behind Aaron Rodgers, learn the NFL game, and then when Aaron Rodgers decides to ride off into the sunset, you can hand the keys to the kid who already knows the system, already knows what he's got to do, and he could torture the rest of the AFC East for giving up on him for the next decade. That's what I want. You know why? Because it's happened to the Jets year after year after year after year. And it's about time that Gang Green starts a little clapback right here.
See,
Okay, so I think
ruined the next 15 years of my life, though. Why would you want to do that?
I think Danny Thatch is calling you a
do you know how many years of my life Tom Brady ruined? Tough shit, buddy.
I think Danny Thatch is calling you a Karen. And we all know what that is. So who's the quarterback in Denver now? They're asking. I don't know.
They may be trading up for one of these guys.
Everybody's trading up for one of them guys.
Oh, listen, I hear McCarthy mentioned in Denver a lot, by the way. From Michigan. So something to keep an eye on.
This
Do they
draft
have the power to trade up?
quarterbacks. They got plenty of quarterbacks that they can take even in the second and third round. They're not going to have a problem drafting a quarterback if that's where they decide to do.
You get Michael Penix in the third round, maybe.
Does anybody know what this guy's talking about? Mary wears a white dress and a black skirt with what is that?
I don't know what.
I have no idea. Is any of your
Put
friends
down the bong and slowly back away.
All right. All right. So somebody thinks that's a great idea. I think you got a bet off.
I appreciate you.
By the way, it's a great idea for the Jets as well, even though it will ruin the next 15 years of my life if it works.
Listen. The Jets and Patriots, doesn't matter who they get. Their offensive line stinks. So it really doesn't matter what quarterback you get. So anyway.
Stunk.
So yes, right. That, as they said in the Grinch. So we're gonna Jason Kelsey, of course, he's gonna be a Hall of Famer, no doubt, all pro center. I don't know, 16 years with the Eagles, something like that. He's kind of wild, right? He's doing a podcast, he's drinking beer, he's cheering for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't know why not for the 76ers. Pags ain't in, so I can't tease him about that at all. But he seems like a wild guy, and he'll probably, I would think, be a sports commentator on one of these programs, maybe a play-by-player color man on a team. I think that's where he'll end up being. So, I think he'll stay around football as long as he can. His brother is a big baby. My baby was saying, giving him a tribute, crying and all that. So, it reminds me of that arm wrestling. What do you call him? I forget. But anyway.
He'll be on TV.
Yes, I think he'll be on TV.
But they're from the Cleveland area, so they went home to kind of just support the home team because they're from that area.
Right.
And they got they gave them like a whole courtside little shout out and, gave like Jason these big applause and stuff and gave them like Cleveland gear, like free fan stuff and everything and recognized them. So, yeah.
And then he set a table on fire and jumped on it. I saw that. That was crazy. Where do you see Michael Penix Jr. goes? I guess where he goes to after the combine. Do you see him taking the first round? I wouldn't take him in the first round, but yeah, I could see him reaching for him. He's more accurate. I mean, Washington was a throwing offense, threw the ball really well, not like McCarthy, and so maybe he goes to a team that needs a good passing quarterback. But to me, I don't know really where he's going. The draft is hard to understand in a way because they're moving picks left and right, and I don't know. Any thoughts there, guys? What do you think? Who do you think Penix ends up with?
It could be anywhere. He's not going to be in the first round. He may have moved himself into the second round, maybe, but he could be a third rounder still. And where he goes, there's a lot of rumors out there. He's part of that Jacoby Brissett scenario with the Patriots a little bit. The
Patriots are drafting every quarterback out there. So,
my question is, why is he rated so low? Why is he rated so low, though?
Injuries.
Yeah, right.
He's a huge injury risk.
I know he's had 2 ACLs to 1 knee and 2 shoulders, but
yeah, that's every quadrant of your body. Like, everything but the belly button.
There's a bias against lefties in the NFL too. It's very obvious.
It really is.
I think he's a player that's going to make some teams pay, though.
I do too. I think he can probably play, but
yes, I think he can play too. It just matter how well he plays. That's the big question out there, right? So let's see. Did you know that the NFL? Now this is the NFL. This is why I love the NFL and I hate them at the same time. I'm being sarcastic. I love the NFL. The upper executive. They got a machine called the Beast that goes out onto the field and collects data because the turfs aren't all the same in the NFL. Some have grass, some have AstroTurf, some have this turf, that turf, half and half. So instead of just putting grass turf on every field, they're going to collect data, which is going to cost millions of dollars. It's ridiculous, ain't it? I mean, who's thinking of this stuff over
Just put grass back out there. Be done. You know, I mean, be done with it. They can't afford to upkeep grass fields. The NFL's making billions of dollars a year. We can't keep up grass fields to keep the players healthy. If that's the case,
what about the domed stadiums?
What about?
Then you can have the ones that are totally domed, it wouldn't work. Obviously, the ones with open domes, you could still have grass fields. I think.
Unfortunately, New Orleans can't get up with the times and get a new stadium.
No, I get it.
Let's not talk about new stadiums because I'm in a way worse situation than that. Okay. Everybody, they rated Mac. Remember, they rated our turf like number 31 in the league as worst turf in Carolina.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. I remember that.
I thought the Meadowlands was the worst. Well,
I don't know who's number 32.
There you go. Thomas has gotten the gist, getting 3 offensive linemen in free agency and an offensive lineman with their first pick. That's who should be the GM of the Jets, right there. Look at him. CJ, did you read that? That's your GM, right? Thomas Gutman. I say Joe Douglas should look at him. So anyway, let's take a look at the Bills have been cutting players left and right, trying to get under that cap. They just cut another safety. They cut Jordan Prayer. Yeah, they're cutting everybody. I mean, it's a fire sale in Buffalo. I wonder what the fans are thinking right now over there. I mean, some of those fans are very, very, very aggressively. They love their team, and these are some of their players. And what do you think the fans are thinking over there right now? What do you think, CJ?
Well, I can tell you one thing. Bills fans are just as passionate about their team as New York Jet fans are. And I really think that, to be honest with you, I'm sure that there's a large portion of Bills Mafia that is probably losing their mind right now. That being said, I'm sure that there probably is a method to the madness. Some of the players that are getting released could quite possibly return to the team in under new contracts or whatever. So there is that potential as well. There's still a lot of moving parts. Remember the NFL calendar year starts on March 13th. So once March 13th kicks in, then I expect that probably the first 2 to 3 weeks are probably going to be absolute pandemonium. To quote the great Gorilla Monsoon.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't think your Gorilla Monsoon reference tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, well, CJ brings in one of these references every week. That's why I keep bringing them back. So Keith, they're talking about Bill Belichick. Peyton Manning is after him to become a commentator on their show, I guess, with Eli. I just can't see him, being a commentator. I mean, his style is a little off, don't you think?
Well, Bill can be very engaging when you watch. You used to see Bill Belichick in press conferences. When you see Bill Belichick in different environments, Bill Belichick can be very engaging. I think in the environment you're talking about with the Mannings, I love the Manning cast. I think Bill might fit in that somewhat, because again, it's not your typical NFL broadcast. I think if he's going to be on TV, that's one of the few places I can see him really fitting. It'd be an interesting idea. Jamie's here. Pags isn't here, but talk about the dog. As long as Bill brings the dog with him, I think he'll be a hit.
Yeah, maybe he can wear one of those funny helmets every week too. Just put one of those old-fashioned leather helmets on, and that would be pretty funny.
Like College Game Day when they do the predictions.
Yeah,
exactly.
Lee Corso.
Not no offense, my friend.
So Mike Evans is staying at Tampa Bay. All bets are off. I think he had a $32 million 2-year contract. If I'm not mistaken, it's right around there anywhere. So there goes so much for wanting to be on a Super Bowl team. Tampa Bay is not a Super Bowl team, but he went and he got his money, and that was either Super Bowl or money.
Yes, we wanted him. Carolina.
Yes, Carolina wants a lot of people. So I mean, maybe you could take Sonja's going to have a great show in March where they're going to have like 8 women on at one time. I don't know if you'll be able to hear any of them speak because they'll all be talking over each other. It's,
on my
and I
shows.
think Sonja, maybe you could get a cheerleading squad for the Panthers too. I mean, maybe that would be something.
We have one. The Top Cats are superb.
Okay,
They're
all right.
great. They're good.
Hey, let's go back to Mike Evans. There's something to be said about a team drafting a player, having a successful career like he had, and then no retiring.
I agree.
That's just you don't see that often anymore. Everybody goes somewhere, but it's just a great thing when you see a player can do that.
I think it might signal Baker Mayfield's on his way back to the Bucs. By the way, that's what I think.
Do you? You think he's going to go back?
That could actually be a
think
very
that's
realistic possibility.
I thought he renewed his contract with the Bucks
Now he's
Not
a free
yet.
agent today.
Yeah.
because he said he only wanted to come back if they brought Mike Evans back. So I guess there's that.
There you go.
Well, that's why they brought Mike Evans back, to keep Baker.
Lure him,
So,
lure him back.
I like the way James brought us back to sports as we were talking a bunch of nonsense. Great job.
Thank
James.
you. I love it because he got y'all off of me.
You built it up very nicely there, James.
Yes, you'll be back next week. You keep up that good work you're doing over there. Anyway,
Appreciate it.
All the women's groups will be picking in this show every night.
that's okay. At least we'll get attention. What do they say? Bad publicity is still publicity, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. I hope they do. Let's see. Anything else that I could talk about? Of course, Carolina released tight end Hayden Hurst. The Commanders picked up Hurts from the Cardinals. Tight ends are moving around. Michael Thomas, me and James talked about this before the show. They're releasing Michael Thomas. He's going either he's being traded or he's walking out or whatever he's doing there. Could have been a really good receiver if he didn't get injured. Big guy, pretty good speed for a big guy, good hands. Them injuries will kill you. They'll kill you, James.
Great start to his career, from rookie season on up to 2019 to Offensive Player of the Year. He just had bad luck. I mean, it was one injury against the Falcons, of course, our hated rivals. It would happen against them, and he just had bad luck and bad decision making as well. He probably should have had his surgery when he was supposed to have it. Sean Payton, not one to mince words, let him know that. But he definitely should have had his surgery, but it's just bad. I hate the way it's ending right now with him in his career, but it's just time marches on, and he's not the guy for them. As he was an alpha X player. He won't be. He hasn't been there the past 3 or 4 years due to injury.
Yes, I agree. I mean, like I said, them injuries will kill you. You can be as great player as you want. The injury will just take you down. So let's talk a little bit about the Cowboys. Dak thinks he's going to get that big extension. Cowboys are over the salary cap. They're trying to renegotiate things. They did put Micah Parsons on. They did sign him for the last year on a $3 million contract, classifying him as a defensive end, not a linebacker. I haven't heard anything from Michael Parsons yet, but I know if I was Mike Parsons, I'm mad, dude, because you're talking a big jump from defensive lineman to outside linebacker pass rusher. So what do you think? You think CJ Michael Parsons is gonna come out in the press like he does a lot of times and start yelling about this move by the Cowboys?
There's a part of me that says yes, but there's also another part of me that seems that like Micah Parsons may already know he may be on his way out of Dallas. And I think that there could be a very real possibility that Micah Parsons could be part of some sort of trade package within the Dallas Cowboys to either get another skill position player in, fortify their defense, fortify their offensive line. There's a lot of different directions that the Cowboys can go. Well, that being said, if Micah Parsons was actually going to complain about his contract, he probably would have done it already. And I mean, there is some smoke to it, but I just have a feeling. I feel like that the reason that the Cowboys are doing this is because he may be included in some sort of trade package somewhere.
That's very possible. Very possible. We're getting close to the end. I want to get a little basketball in here. I was reading this guy named Beasley put together his top 5 shooters of all time. Steph Curry was in it, but then he went down. He mentioned a couple guys I've never even heard of. So I think any top 5, and got to consider the errors, guys, because there was a time there was no 3-point line. In the 80s, is that as recently as the 80s, Larry Bird played without 3-point line for a little while. But I think if you're going to go top 5 shooters, I want to tell me what you guys think. I go with Steph Curry, definitely. No particular order. Larry Bird. I think you would have to put Reggie Miller in there. Jerry West. What do you guys think?
That's a really hard one to pick. I mean, yeah, wow. There are so many great shooters. I mean, you can say Ray Allen was one. I mean, but you have to look back throughout the history of basketball because, like you said, there was no 3-point line. Guys were still deep range shooters back then. I mean, and we're looking at percentages. We're looking at talent level of defense. What type of defense you had? Wing defenders. It's just so many things you have to consider to just really pick that number like that.
I was going to say, do they have to be a great player? Because Steve Kerr is one of the greatest shooters I've ever seen play when he played.
He's got some points too, Keith. I mean, come on. I mean,
shot almost 50% from 3. That's pretty good. So if you're just
what about John Stockton?
What about Damian Lillard, Steve Nash, Reggie Miller? All of those. Miller, talking about shooters.
Yeah.
Yes. Keith, it was funny. Keith was talking a lot and laughing, and he was muted.
I muted myself. I think you muted me. I think I'm getting the Jack Hurst treatment tonight. But
no, I wouldn't do that to you, Keith. Not at all. The Celtics, the best basketball team in the league, unless they're playing the Cleveland Cavaliers, and it's the fourth quarter, and Tatum's got the last shot. He's got a small 6'1" guy on him, and he decides to take a jump shot instead of taking him to the hoop. I mean, he's done this before. The Celtics have lost because of this before. What do they do? I mean, are the Celtics choke artists? I mean, they get to the big game, and all of a sudden, they can't put it together.
That was a big game. I don't think that's such a big game, here in March. I think, I can see the Celtics not necessarily being up for that game necessarily. If they'd blown this game in June or May, then maybe you got something. But
I'm just talking about history, Keith. I'm talking about history. This has happened. This has happened before, right, James? I'm not saying anything wrong here. I mean,
no, I agree.
Like 0 for 9. You're 0 for 9 in the last shot of the game. I think that's right, and I think Tatum's 0 for 4. Instead of taking, I mean, Tatum's a beast. Tatum's one of the best, maybe the best, arguably the best player in the NBA right now. What is he doing taking a jump shot over a 6'1" guy hoping for a foul? Take him to the hoop, right, James?
I mean, are we saying that Cleveland, did Boston lose the game or did Cleveland win the game? I mean, defensively, because it was only, 105 to 104? So it was actually a defensive game. I mean, he didn't just miss shots. I mean, they were well defended. And I would say what an excellent call by the ref to review that, because I mean, he didn't touch him. The guy kicked his leg out. He didn't touch him at all. And so they won, by time running out after the jump ball. But I mean, I think out of a best of 7, I still think Boston wins.
Yeah.
So what happened to physicality in basketball? I mean, you got a little guy on you. It's not like you're playing Shaq. I mean, yeah, I'll take a jump shot with Shaq in front of me. But I got a little guy, big as Stockton, in front of me. 5'10", 5'11", 130 pounds. I'm taking it to the hoop.
Yeah, I don't know why he went that route. I don't know if it was proving a point or what, but poor decision making by Jason Tatum. He should know better. He's well seasoned at this point in the league. Yeah. And I don't know if he made that decision or if that was a call from the bench. But either way, it was a goofy move. And so goofy moves, you got to pay big prices when you make these type of mistakes. And I hope that this is something they learn from, just like how we're talking about it now. I hope they realize going forward, like, it's not about going off or making these bad decisions at the last minute. It's about, sticking to your craft, staying true to what you do on the court all the time with every team, every time, so you can win your games.
This is the NBA. That's not going to happen. This is the NBA we're talking about.
Right.
And I like the use of the goofy moves. I've never heard that one before. CJ, do you have any kind of the goof? CJ, anything going on in hockey besides all the? Well, it's time to trade, right? Let's get the trades going. Let's get.
Oh my goodness, the NHL trade deadline is right around the corner, March 8th. All right, and there already have been some serious trades, and I want to bring up the ticker real quick because I just want to go over these. Just bear with me. So, one thing that I will say is, I wish Pags was here today. You know, unfortunately, if Pags was here, I would have told him his Philadelphia Flyers actually acquired Ryan Johansson from the Colorado Avalanche, which definitely helps them. Unfortunately, the Colorado Avalanche was hoping that Ryan Johansson would have been able to fill the hole left when Nassim Kadri ended up signing elsewhere. Well, the Colorado Avalanche went ahead and made a deal with the Buffalo Sabres to acquire Casey Middleton, which definitely fills the hole that Nassim Kadri left. And that just makes the Avalanche that much more dangerous. But of course, that's not all, kids. Let me tell you, there has been some good stuff going on. All right. Now, I will go straight through with all of the trades. First off, I tell you right now, one of the trades that definitely made me go, oh, great, here we go again. Vladimir Tarasenko being acquired by the Florida Panthers. All right. That just makes them an even more dangerous team than they already were. They beat the Rangers on Monday night 4-2. So Sam Reinhart is not only going to be able to be circled around, but now he's got Vladimir Tarasenko going to be able to feed him the puck. Oh my God! Right there, it's going to create problems for the rest of the Eastern Conference. Yes, Scott Gillespie, just going to mention that. The Rangers, New York Rangers, my beloved Blue Shirts, acquired Alex Wenberg from the Seattle Kraken for 2 draft picks. That definitely takes care of their third center issue since Filipino went down. Now, that also means that Johnny Brodzinski could potentially be shifted between the third line and the fourth line, unless Wenberg is going to be penciled right in that spot, or we could end up seeing Brodzinski demoted, sent back down to Hartford, which I'm hoping not, because you know what? That kid has earned his spot on the NFL, on the Blue Shirts roster, and he needs to be on that roster. Now, that being said, we're talking about Adam Henry.
CJ, before you go on, we got like two something minutes left. So what I want, listen, guys, if you want to see a great hockey show, you got to turn into and talk to CJ. He's on Saturday nights. I ain't got my schedule in front of me. What is it, Saturday night at 10 or 9 or 10, CJ, that you're on?
No, actually, believe it or not, we're going to be taking over for the NFC show directly following this show. Toward the end of the month, Pags is going to be joining me. I'm going to be part of that panel. We're also bringing in a brand new broadcaster. His name is Mike Maynard, diehard Pittsburgh Penguin fan and complete stat head. I cannot wait for this show to get up off the ground.
That sounds good. Please let me know of these things because, you know, I run the Roku channel over here, and, you know, it's good that
Of course.
Okay, thank you. Well, you did let me know that. I know. All right, guys, we're all done here tonight. Next would be the NFC East show, soon to be a hockey show. Anyways, and Sonja's on tonight. J&B Talking Shop's on. There's a lot of shows on, a lot of Roku left. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Sonja, James, CJ, and, of course, my friend Keith Angle. Always a pleasure having him on my show, especially when he's muted. So thanks for coming on, Keith. You'll need that.
Poor Keith getting the Jack treatment tonight.
They're the same age. That's why.
Yes, that's right. All right, guys, have a great day.
Matt,
Yes.
I got to give you props for the Russell Wilson call in the debate. You were right.
Thank you very much. I know a little bit about stuff, not a lot. I know a lot about a little bit a lot, if that makes sense. Folks, have a great day, and we'll see you soon on the Roku channel. Stick with us.